Producing over 500 hours per week of talk radio, GCN Live is a world leader in talk radio. Archives for the following program can be found at gcnlive.com.
Good morning, greetings, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I've seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle. But what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure, because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, we are your go-to resource. 844-236-6010 is our number today and every day on The Bright Side. If you have questions about the longevity products, something you may have read or heard about, ingredients, formulations, if you have a health challenge that you want help dealing with, we can help you. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want prescription drugs or you know somebody on medications and you want to wean yourself off your meds or help someone else wean themselves off their medications, which I highly recommend. If you're on prescription drug, folks, your number one health challenge is to figure out how to get off of it. If you need help, we can help you. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised on the program, head over to brightsideben.com. You can order products right off the website. Also, my blog, criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team right off the websites, or you can call the phone team at 866-735-2470, and they can tell you all about it for a one-time $25 fee. You can start a longevity business and help change lives, just like we do on this program, just like I've been doing with the longevity products with Dr. Wallach's message now for 18 years. You can do it, too, for a one-time $25 fee. You can help spread the word about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program, especially if you've discovered it for yourself. Don't hold on to that information, folks. Be generous with that information. There's a lot of people that don't know what we take for granted. You listening to this program, what you take for granted as just common knowledge, most people still don't know. The power of fats, the power of supplementation, the toxicity of prescription drugs, all these ideas we talk about here on this program are still not really well known out there in the world of the average layperson. I heard Joe Biden on a news program talking about curing cancer. There's still people who believe that you can cure cancer, that you can be vaccinated against cancer. I heard somebody else talking about how they were surprised that Ben Carson, who's running for president, doesn't know much about economics or foreign policy because he's a doctor. He should be really smart. And this is the kind of ideas people have. He's a neurosurgeon. He's a brain doctor. Of course he's smart because he's a doctor. There's all these crazy ideas about health, about medicine, about healing, about wellness. We clear those up on this program. And if you're not listening to this program, and the vast majority of people aren't, you're not going to have any idea about just the basics, the basic ideas that we talk about on this program. If you're interested in starting a business where you can make money, earn a living, earn residual checks, and help change lives by spreading the word, please call 866-735-2470 and join the Brightside Ben team. All right, we're talking about hormones and fats and the relationship between hormones and fats. As we've been saying, hormones are the messengers that convert the outside world into the inside world, and that especially is around foods. Your three major control points for hormones are the foods you eat and the thoughts you think / feelings you feel. Those are the major control points for hormones. The thoughts we think, the feelings we feel, and the foods we eat. Now, perceptions, how we see the world, that has an effect as well, of course, but all really relates to thinking, thoughts. Every time we think a thought or feel a feeling, a hormone is secreted for better or worse. Crappy thoughts, crappy feelings, crappy hormones. Crappy food, crappy hormones. Good food, good thoughts, good emotions, good feelings. All related to good hormones. And when it comes to diet, there's a critical connection between dietary fat and hormones. The combination of the fact that hormones are so critical and the fact that as we age, our hormone secretion slows down has led to this medical idea, this pharmacological idea, that we can be dosed with hormones, like we're dosed with pills, like we're dosed with medicine. Hormones have become medicine. The pharmacomedical model has taken the understanding of hormones and turned it into a profit center, a way to make money by dosing us with hormones. Now, it's true that some of us will feel better when we're on HRT, hormone replacement therapy, but it's a risky proposition because hormones are the critical juncture between the outside world and the inside world, and once you start playing with them, you never know what you're going to create, including cancers and tumors. And yes, hormone replacement therapy and cancers go hand in hand. That's estrogen and testosterone, the two major hormones that are replaced. I'm talking steroid hormones, not so much with thyroid hormone, which is not a fatty hormone. That's a whole different animal, and we'll talk about thyroid hormone here in a little bit. There's an antagonistic relationship between anti-aging hormones and sugar and insulin. More sugar we eat, the higher our insulin, the less anti-aging hormone effects we're going to have. So your real strategy, your best strategy for improving hormone activity as we get older is, surprise, surprise, reduce your intake of sugar and reduce your intake of foods that spike insulin. Resensitize the body to insulin. As we get older and the body stops listening to insulin, that's called insulin resistance. The body also stops listening to growth hormones and testosterone and building substances. And even worse, the more sugar we eat and the higher our insulin, the greater our estrogen effects, feminizing effects, especially for men. Talked about andropause a couple of days ago, which is the male version of menopause. If you're a guy and you're getting older, you're in your 50s or 60s, and you're starting to get less manly, shall we say, especially around sexual performance, but also muscle building. You find you're not building muscle as well. You find you're dealing with erectile dysfunction or sexual performance or libido issues, perhaps. The chances are pretty good you're becoming feminized. And I don't think it's a coincidence that all of our strategies, all of our day-to-day strategies around around the foods that we eat are feminizing. We're being feminized. Men are being domesticated and feminized. And one of the ways you can tell if you're a guy that you're being feminized is if you're getting a gut where you never had a gut before. Some people are getting guts at earlier and earlier, in their 20s and 30s, unfortunately. The more body fat you're carrying, the more feminized you are. The fastest way to defeminize yourself, to remasculinize yourself, if you're dealing with andropause issues, is work with your sugar, blood sugar, and insulin. Reduce your intake of sugar. Replace the body fat with muscle. Muscle makes male hormone. Fat makes female hormone. There's also a very important relationship between the outside part of a cell, a so-called cell membrane, and how well a hormone works. And that's one of the reasons why eating fats, or essential fats, I should say, is another wonderful strategy for keeping your anti-aging, youth, and fertility building hormones percolating and pumping along as they should be. The membrane is required, or a healthy membrane is required for hormones to traverse to get into the inside part of a cell to do their work. And that membrane, as we've said, is built up of fat, particularly essential fatty acids and cholesterol. Dietary fat is so important, and how to use or how to leverage, how to exploit, how to take advantage of dietary fat is so important. Dietary fats are a source of energy, and they're a part of the structure of the body, part of the structure of cells. They're critical for skin health. And in the case of these essential fats, or EFAs, or essential fatty acids, they're also key players in the production of cholesterol hormones, the steroid hormones, the fertility hormones. Essential fatty acids are important for the production of these hormones. They're important for the production of our stress management hormones. And And EFAs are also involved in the production of digestive juices. So that means the more EFAs you're getting and absorbing, the better your digestion is going to be, especially around EFAs. The more you eat, the better you absorb them. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're coming back on the bright side. 844-236-6010 is our number. Don't go away. All right, we're back on the bright side. We have a guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. Stephen Hewer is going to be talking about his new One World Way, which I've been taking now for 3 or 4 months and loving. Stephen is a true friend of the layperson when it comes to health and wellness, and he knows a lot of good stuff about health and wellness, not just about protein. Stephen and I have been talking now for a couple of years anyway. And I've never not been impressed after a conversation with Stephen Hewer about his knowledge about protein, knowledge about nutrition, and his good heart, his kindness and his goodness. And he's become a friend as well as a resource when it comes to whey protein. We'll talk about One World Way. That'll be the bottom of the hour. Tomorrow we're going to talk to Dr. Elena George about her book, Big Medicine: The Cost of Corporate Control and How Doctors and Patients Working Together Can Rebuild a Better System. Dr. George is an MD, board-certified otolaryngologist, I think you say it, he's an ear, nose, and throat specialist. And she's got a really interesting take on corporate medicine, big medicine, as she says. And if you've listened to this program, you know that I have my own personal take on corporate medicine and big medicine and the scammery that it represents. You know, when you go to Kaiser and you go to your HMO, Humana, or whatever your HMO is, and you go to the doctor, you know, we're under the illusion that somehow the doctor is there for us, that somehow the doctor's working for us. But guess what? When you go to Kaiser and you go to your doctor, your friendly doctor, Kaiser physician, he's not working for you. He's working for Kaiser. He's doing Kaiser's bidding. That's what HMOs are. They're doctor companies. We call them in the business, we call them doc in a box. They're little doctors that work for just like hamburgers being sold from McDonald's. They're selling you protocols and diagnostics and tests and prescription drugs and making money off of all of it. And cost-cutting off of all of it. When they dispense a prescription drug to you at Kaiser, they're going from a formulary, from a menu. They're not giving you a prescription drug based on what you need. They're giving you a prescription drug based on profit margin, what's effective for them to sell. It's a hideous, hideous, hideous thing to do to humanity, this corporate medicine, big medicine that's been entrenched by Obamacare. And if you're one of those people that thinks it's great to have Obamacare, and I know there's a lot of folks who think it's wonderful to have Obamacare, guess what? You're suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. That's where we love. Stockholm Syndrome is when somebody gets kidnapped and they fall in love with their kidnappers. Well, we got Stockholm Syndrome around the federal government. We got Stockholm Syndrome around our doctors in the medical model. We got Stockholm Syndrome around big medicine. We love our masters. We love our kidnappers. We love our abusers. Anyway, we'll talk to Dr. Elena George about that tomorrow. Stephen, you are at the bottom of the hour. And you and your phone calls right now. We'll continue talking about hormone health. Tomorrow we'll talk about the different kinds of fats, try to clear up some of the confusion around fats, and then we'll talk about an awesome vitamin that you absolutely better be taking if you start to dose with higher doses or higher amounts of your essential fatty acids. We'll talk about that tomorrow on The Bright Side. All right, let's go to Sheila in Massachusetts. Welcome to The Bright Side. What's up, Sheila?
Hi.
Hey.
Yes, I just went to a doctor and had an ultrasound done, and they recommended that I have either a hysterectomy or a DNC. Anyway, I found
Why did they recommend that?
A thickening of the uterine wall.
Okay, so in other words, we'll just take the whole thing out, then you don't have to worry about it.
Right. So
Okay.
I found a doctor.
Good thing you didn't have a headache, by the way, Sheila, because if you went there, you might leave without your head.
I hear you. I was very troubled by it. And anyway, I found a doctor that did bioidenticals, which I thought, well, you know what, I think that's better than just, going into surgery. And he has studied it, and he prescribed 3 medications for me.
Estrone, estradiol, and estriol.
Estradiol, progesterone, and Armour thyroid.
Oh, really? So he didn't even give you the bioidentical Triest. It's Armour thyroid topical? No, oral Armour.
Pills.
Like pills.
Yeah.
Okay. Did he recommend the progesterone and the estrogen as creams?
No.
Orally?
And that was, I had been on hormone bioidenticals, and I had a compounding pharmacy several years ago. But the estradiol, I think he thinks it's a bioidentical.
Are you going to Kaiser? Where are you going to get your stuff? Is it a real doctor, or is it a doc-in-a-box doctor?
Well, I thought that he was...
Where are you going? Is it an HMO deal?
Well,
is it a personal doctor, or is it like one of those big buildings where they had a bunch of doctors there?
No, it was a personal doctor.
Well, he should know a lot better than that. I'm surprised. I'm actually not surprised, but he should know a lot better than that. Here's the deal. How old are you, ma'am?
63.
Oh, okay. You're playing with fire if you get on that estriol, and even the progesterone is supposed to mitigate some of the effects of the estriol, but, in my opinion, you're playing with fire. You do what you like to do. The hysterectomy is crazy. All of this is telling me that you have a problem with estrogen. Thickening of the uterine lining is a sign that you're making too much estrogen or you're not processing it correctly. By putting more estrogen in the system, you're playing with fire. Tell him I said that. You're going to see him again? Or ask him.
Say,
if I've already got too much estrogen, because that's what the uterine lining is telling you, why are you giving me more estrogen? Shouldn't be working on helping me process estrogen? And the progesterone is a good idea. I would use progesterone cream. Stay on that. The fact that you have a thyroid problem means everything's starting to break down in the body. Everything's starting to slow down in the body. Remember, the thyroid is your engine hormone. It makes all the cells of the body do their business. Bone cells bone, muscle cells muscle, heart cells heart, intestinal cells intestine. All the cells of the body, and there's 200 of them, do their business. All the different cells of their body, there's 200 different cells in the body, do their own thing better under the rulership or under the initiation of thyroid hormone. When that starts to go down, everything slows up. And that can definitely affect how you're processing estrogen. Number one, here's a strategy for you, okay? Mm-hmm. Progesterone's great. Stay on that. As far as the estrogen goes, suggest to your doctor, and you can quote me on this, shouldn't I be working on helping my body process estrogen rather than putting more estrogen in the system? And the way you help your body process estrogen is by working on the liver and working on the intestine. The liver and the intestine are your two primary organs for estrogen processing. When estrogen's not processed correctly, listen up now, this is very important, okay? Mm-hmm. When estrogen is not processed correctly, bad toxic estrogens accumulate, and this is where the out-of-control growth and the agitation and the insomnia and even the cancer and blood clotting and heart disease come from as it relates to estrogen. It's the toxic byproducts, I don't want to say toxic, but the super potent byproducts of estrogen that build up when we don't process it correctly. How do we process it? By working on the liver, especially bile, and then also the intestine, and probiotics. In fact, probiotics play a major role in clearing and processing estrogen. So get on a good probiotic supplement. The Biolumin Nightly Essence is great. You've got to have digestive problems too, by the way, and that's compounding things. If there's any conditions with small, they call SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth from eating too much sugar, that has to be addressed. I would be focusing hardcore on your intestines and digestive system, using the probiotics and fermented foods, number one. Elimination diet, eliminating problem foods, especially fatty foods that are problematic, making sure you're getting your essential fatty acids, your ultimate EFAs, making sure you're using ultimate enzymes after all your meals. Your ultimate enzymes have bile in them, and so extra bile is going to help you clear out estrogen. I would even take extra bile go to the health food store and get bile salts, B-I-L-E, apple cider vinegar after all your meals. There's really a ton of things. And vitamin E and A have a balancing effect on estrogen. Stay on the progesterone cream. Wish I had more time to talk to you because there's lots more we can do. Call back tomorrow if you don't mind, and we can finish up with you. Got Stephen Ewer coming up right after this. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. There are so many wonderful nutritional strategies for dealing with menopausal health issues that don't involve going to your doctor and getting so-called bioidentical or not even bioidentical hormones. I'm sorry I had to cut Sheila off to get because we went to break, because it's such an important subject, and we're going to spend time next week talking about estrogen hormone replacement therapy for women and for men as well, and how you can use nutrition to get all the benefits, the same exact benefits, reducing anxiety and jitteriness and blood pressure issues and keeping your blood circulating, improving blood circulation, helping your thyroid, all the things that go wrong as a woman reaches menopause or perimenopause and a man goes into andropause. All the things that can go wrong can be addressed by using nutrition and dietary strategies. And please don't underestimate the importance of fats, fat processing, and sugar when it comes to estrogen and menopause and testosterone and andropause. And we will be talking about that next week. Tomorrow and next week on The Bright Side. Actually, tomorrow we'll also talk to Dr. Elena George about her book, Big Medicine, The Cost of Corporate Control, and how doctors and patients working together can rebuild a better system. All right, so I am very excited to have our guest on today. Stephen Ewer has become a good friend. I always admired his work when it came to health and nutrition. I admired his spirit as well, his big heart. This is a guy who's truly dedicated to making the world a better place, and he does it using the metaphor that I like, and that is good, healthy nutrition, especially around protein. Please welcome to The Bright Side, Stephen Ewer. What's up, Stephen?
Hey, Ben. Thanks for the welcome. I appreciate being on your show again. I'd always really want to acknowledge for a moment you really are a bright side. That's a good name for your show, and you're really so knowledgeable and so just constantly full of inspirational energy. It's just you are
I appreciate that.
So thanks.
That's what I want to be. I appreciate you saying that. Okay, so here's the deal. Well, I want to talk about whey. I want to talk about One World Whey, which I love, and I've been using it now for, I think, 3 or 4 months, the new One World Whey, and I'm absolutely loving it, the taste of it, the way it makes me feel, everything about it. And then I want to talk about whey, but before we even get into any of that, let's talk a little bit about the old version of the One World Whey. There were some problems associated with it. I love the product, but there were some labeling issues that you had. Please, let's clear that up for the listeners, and then we'll get into talking about whey protein as a nutritional supplement.
Yeah, so basically the manufacturer has high technologies that he uses to create this product, One World Whey, that energy encodes it, and he basically produced a product that we thought was a 20 gram per protein product per scoop, and a stevia sweetened product. And the product's got miraculous results, but in the end, we found out that the majority of the results were coming from the frequencies put into the product, and that there was mislabeling going on in regards to the protein to carb ratio. The product was generating these miraculous results because of the quality of the protein not being denatured, and also because of the frequencies. So even with a small amount of protein content, people were still getting these miraculous results, because when you get the proper signaling to the cells, then protein synthesis, you could say, in the same way that chemicals like hormones signal the cells to produce, the growth factors of the body, whether it's testosterone or insulin or IGF-1 or chorionic, HG or HCG or luteinizing hormone. These
stuff.
Powerful.
The good stuff.
Yeah, they basically signal your cells to become efficient at protein synthesis as one of the instructions they give to the cells. Well, you could achieve that sort of instructions with frequencies encoded into the protein as well, which is what he has done. That most people, it's a new science.
I don't want to get into that just yet, because I think that's a very important subject that you don't even really talk about that much, and that I didn't even know until you told me about it. So hang tight on that one, because I want to hit that one in depth. But the point is that the old product that you had was mislabeled, basically, just to cut to the chase.
But it didn't diminish its quality or effectiveness, but it was mislabeled. So we went through a big debacle with people's perception about it, and that was a big nightmare, but whatever. It ended up being that no one was harmed, everyone was benefited. Even diabetics that are trying to avoid carbs, a lot of them benefited in their regulation of blood sugar and their neuropathy, pain in their feet going away, and all kinds of stuff. So people
got great results with it. I was recommending it for years, actually, and people were blown away by it, and they loved the taste, etc. So so you took it off the market, and by the way, that was a nice move. I wouldn't expect any less from you, but took it off the market. Now it's been reintroduced. So I want to talk about the One World Whey, and as I say, I've been using it for months, and I'm loving it. But let's talk about whey protein in general first and foremost. Okay, to me, and I've been using whey now for 25 or 30 years. I used to buy big bags of it and repack it in plastic bags in the late 80s and early 90s before anybody knew about it. And I saw the power of it in my own personal life for a lot of things. Let's talk about whey, first of all. What is it that makes whey protein the single most powerful protein in terms of building and anabolism? What is it about whey protein that makes it so important for these kinds of things, building and anti-aging and making things happen in the body?
Well, I'm sure you could say elucidate on this yourself quite eloquently, but I'll do my share with the best that I can. Basically, you've got a protein that, if it retains the three-dimensional structure, the actual molecules, the actual protein molecules or amino acids, if they retain their three-dimensional shape or geometry that nature gave them, then the body's going to use them 100%, both the proteins and the amino acids, for unique things. And because the valine, leucine, and isoleucine are high...
Hang on, Doug, you got to slowly. Valine, leucine, and isoleucine are 3 amino acids for the listeners, and they're building amino acids. They call them branched chain amino acids, and they're primary building amino acids. Go ahead.
Yeah, 1/3 of the muscle proteins of the body are supposedly made of the branched chains. So when you get those, that's nature's richest source of those branched chains, and they're basically, when they're made available to you in the context of a complete protein like whey, you're ending up achieving a positive nitrogen balance in the presence of branched chain amino acids. So the body has to be in a positive nitrogen balance, which is to say the bloodstream has to be rich enough in free amino acids and plasma proteins produced by the liver to make the body be able to say, we're in a position to place these proteins and amino acids into the muscles and develop or repair skeletal muscle and or organ system tissues. And so this anabolic state is really easily achieved from a non-denatured whey protein like One World Whey, because it's easily assimilated. You can get it into the body in as little as 45 minutes. It doesn't require the long process of as much exposure to hydrochloric acid or pepsin in the stomach or pancreatic enzymes. It's much more easily absorbed into our bloodstream than regular animal meat protein products.
And when you say I'm sorry, let me just interrupt real quick. When you say absorbed into the bloodstream, basically you're talking about nitrogen in the blood. It's an effective nitrogen delivery system into the blood that triggers growth.
Yes, exactly. In forms where, again, these aminos and proteins have not been bent or twisted. They retain their structure, so they're going to be fully used as building blocks.
Okay, now that's a requirement of whey protein, but not all whey proteins that you buy at the health food store or in the internet can meet that criteria, correct?
Correct. Most of them are all denatured, so they deliver a fraction of the amount of health benefits that nature put there, and there's a good percentage of it that your body just has to look at as either a source of breaking it down into glucose or as something to require the liver and kidneys to excrete as a nitrogen waste.
Now, you said 2 very interesting points there. If you're using the wrong kind of whey protein, you can get fat, and if you're using the wrong kind of whey protein, you can put a burden on the kidney, correct? Is that what you just said?
Uh-huh.
Stephen, okay. All right, hang tight. We got to take a break. I want to talk about the One World Whey specifically when we come back. We're talking to Stephen Ure. Give out your website real quick, Stephen.
Yeah, sgn80.com, sgn80.com, or oneworldwhey.com, oneworldwhey.com.
All right, we'll be back with Stephen Ure. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive page, brightsideben.com. You can also check out our blog, criticalhealthnews.com and pharmacistben.com. We're talking to Stephen Ure about whey protein and specifically about the One World Whey. So just to kind of review what you just said there, Stephen, nitrogen means growth. And this is whey protein is an effective delivery system for nitrogen into the blood. Basically, it all comes down to nitrogen when you're talking about protein. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I look at it a little more than that, but that is one important aspect of it. You have
the growth factors. There's also the growth factors as well in the ways.
Growth factors and the liver function, because if your liver's not operating healthfully, you're not going to produce all the proteins that is responsible for the majority of the repair. So liver is really important. Growth factors are important, and the positive nitrogen balance. But it's actually, if you have the growth factors there, growth can happen even on a protein-sparse diet, so long as you're efficient at utilization, and that's the quality of the protein. If you're eating highly denatured proteins, you're not going to get much utilization, and so you could keep on burdening the kidney and liver like we talked about before. That's why bodybuilders are warned that they're going to do damage to their liver and kidneys with a high protein consumption of 150 to 200 grams of protein per day, because they're eating a lot of denatured protein protein inherently, when it's non-denatured, will not damage or burden the kidneys or liver, even if you eat huge quantities. It's only when it's denatured that it burdens the liver and kidney.
And it's pretty much always denatured because we're always cooking it.
Exactly.
So basically, it's whey, cold processed whey, and raw eggs. And I don't know what else. Yeast, maybe?
You could get access to raw milk, and you could culture
raw
it.
Milk,
or
right.
Yogurt. That's a phenomenal, powerful food.
Always raw, though. It has to be raw and cold processed.
Always has to be raw. And if you get colostrum, too, if you can get raw colostrum and culture that and mix it with your raw milk, that's even more powerful because it has more growth factors in it.
That's, the colostrum is awesome stuff. We haven't really talked much about colostrum. First Milk. Have you seen organic colostrum anywhere?
No, the thing is, I won't buy the powdered stuff. I've used that before. That's all heat sterilized at 145 degrees or higher. And
so
that's
what do you?
Denaturing the significant
You got to go to
amount.
a farmer.
I go to a farmer who just sets it aside after he has a calf, and he milks some of the colostrum for future calves that might need it because one of the cows might be deficient, and he'll set it in the freezer, and he'll sell it to me, and I just get it from him.
That's awesome stuff. I encourage everybody to look into that. But it should be organic. You don't want the hormones and the antibiotics and all that stuff.
I get it from a grass-based cow without the hormones or antibiotics,
Yeah. All right, so real quick, because we're running out of time here. By the way, your website was oneworldway.com, and what was the other one?
SGN80.com.
SGN80.com and oneworldway.com if you're interested in checking out the One World Way. It's delicious. It works. It tastes great, and it works unbelievably well. It's cold processed. It's organic. Just a great product, and you'll be supporting Stephen in his work as well. So, Stephen, tell us. There's some real interesting stuff about the One World Way that you enlightened me on that I didn't know about. Share with our listeners the whole thing you were talking about a little bit with the radio frequency, all that whole bit.
So
and be as simple, be as base. Don't get too technical. Just real simple.
Okay, so
as best as you
the reason
can.
the One World Way has generated the miraculous results over 4 years was because of this energy encoding that was done to it. So I guess you could just say in the science of, it's not homeopathy per se, but in needing something to give it another mental understanding, homeopathy puts frequencies into water or different substances, and those frequencies are then carried into the body, and those frequencies then actually signal your cells epigenetically to perform in a healthy manner in some way, shape, or form. So
via frequency. It works via frequency, basically,
exactly.
Is the point.
So via frequency, through some science, I'm going to give you my theories because he won't disclose the specifics because it's his secret. Basically, my theory is that there's energy frequencies, there's healing and detoxification frequencies put into the whey protein so that when this protein or the amino acids from the protein come in contact with your cells, the cells are signaled at the level of the DNA to produce enzymes and hormones and enzymes and neurotransmitters and do protein synthesis to keep the cell functioning and youthful. And that's why we've had people say our heavy metal toxins have removed out of my body, or drug deposits have left my body and I'm now feeling healthier, or all these different benefits that are really hard to achieve with normal, sophisticated nutraceutical intervention and good diet. This is what a healthcare professional shoots for, is to get the person to experience a healing crisis, to go through removing stuck toxins out of the system so their system can finally reboot and be healthy. That's what was happening on One World Way. Plus, people were gaining muscle mass and losing unwanted body fat because, again, that signaling is acting almost like a hormone in that it's instructing the cell to be able to make protein. Even
genetically.
Yeah, what's that?
Genetically.
Yeah,
it's working genetically.
Exactly.
It's upregulating the gene.
Yeah.
So, in other words, it's protein plus because these are all independent of its protein effects.
Exactly. So this is protein plus, which is why even a small amount of the protein we had, a 3-year-old boy's 7 lung tumors go away in 30 days, or other people will have all these other amazing results because there's this signaling happening, making protein synthesis super efficient because of the frequency component encoded into the whey protein.
Now, you got letters on all this stuff that, the people send you letters and notes. Right. And I can tell from my personal experience in my life, and also the people I recommended, my mom and people who were using the One World Way, they were raving about it, and everybody to a T, to an individual was bummed out that they couldn't get it anymore for a while. And so I know personally from my own experience and the experience of people that I recommended the product to, that they were getting these tremendous effects that seemed to be above and beyond protein effects. But the protein effects were awesome just on their own. Why don't you tell people a little bit about what they can expect to achieve once they start using the One World Way on a regular basis?
One of the things you'll get is usually you'll get a lot of people get a noticeable increase in energy and well-being. Sometimes if you're fairly healthy, you might notice that right away. We get that both from young people and older people. It just depends on your level of health. But in essence, you're giving your body a significantly easily absorbable protein so that your body doesn't necessarily need as much animal meat cooked proteins in the diet, so you might not need as much food overall or as much protein in your diet because you've now replaced some of it with this. Then in time, I mean, you're basically supporting your immune system because you got active immunoglobulins that'll go in and act as a secondary immune system to get rid of virus, fungus, bacteria, parasites, help prevent cancer cell proliferation, whatever. That's powerful in the way you're getting the ability to create glutathione and get rid of inflammation. We've had people call
glutathione, what's that? Tell listeners what that is.
Oh, yeah, that's the body's number one detoxifying chemical produced primarily by your liver, but it's also supposed to be produced by every cell of the body, and everybody's production of it declines as they age or are exposed to toxins. So if you resurrect production of glutathione, you start to get rid of the inflammation and the toxins, and all of a sudden liver function improves, brain function, everything improves throughout the body, including people saying that their inflammation pain has gone down or has gone away just from taking One World Whey.
And whey protein is probably nature's richest food source of glutathione.
It's nature's richest source of the building block to make it, and that building block is in a form that your body can absorb and get into the cells, unlike supplementation like just L-cysteine doesn't do it.
There's glutathione in whey protein, though, too. Just straight glutathione, I'm pretty sure.
No, there's not. There's just a building block. It's just L-cysteine.
Glutamine, cysteine.
And that breaks down into two molecules of cysteine, cysteine. So, and then the cysteine goes into the cells and becomes, cysteine goes into the cell and breaks into two cysteine molecules and becomes combined with glutamic acid and glycine.
So basically, you're upregulating, just to cut to the chase, because we're going to run out of time here, you're upregulating your body's major cancer fighter, major detoxifier, virus fighter, immune booster, the stuff glutathione. We've talked about IV glutathione on this program, but next to IV glutathione, whey protein is a great way to boost your glutathione levels, and that's for cancer as well. How about for bodybuilders and weightlifters?
Bodybuilders and weightlifters are reporting that they get more strength and more endurance on the product and quicker recovery. I mean, we had a guy just tell us the other day, he's 41 years old. He converted from a desk job to an all-day manual labor construction job, and he says he just uses every muscle in his body. But he said since he got on the whey, all his soreness is gone, and he can work.
Nice.
He can work every day that intensely and not feel sore the next day.
And by the way, you're also getting in the One World Whey product. You're also getting vitamins too.
Yeah, just naturally occurring. They're none added, but they're naturally occurring. You're getting a full suite of natural minerals as well, and and you're getting some growth factors even too. You're getting a small amount of IGF-1 and IGF-2, plus all the immunoglobulins, and that's
a power food.
Yeah, when you get this in its true non-denatured state, it's a magical food, and all the case histories that used to be recorded when people drank the raw stuff back in Europe and spas and stuff are happening on One World Whey over and above what we had. It's quite phenomenal.
And it's so hard to find a quality whey. Even if you know about whey, it's so hard to find a quality whey, which One World Whey clearly is. Grass-fed, the whole bit. And then non-denatured, of course, source of lactoferrin and peptides and glutathione, building blocks, etc.
Even blood pressure-lowering proteins like lactokinin. I mean, that's another thing that whey is.
I forgot to mention blood pressure. We're out of time, Stephen. Give out the website one more time. Give out the website one more time, Stephen.
oneworldwhey.com, and that's oneworldwhey.com.
All right, good to talk to you, buddy. We'll talk again soon. Thanks, Stephen.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's Stephen Ewer from One World Whey. I highly recommend this new product. I've been on it now for a few months, and you can find it at oneworldwhey.com if you want to purchase it. All right, that's all the time we have for today. Tomorrow we'll continue talking hormone health and fats, and then we'll talk menopause and andropause and alternatives to so-called bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Thanks for listening, friends. Have a wonderful, awesome, beautiful day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.